Check, check. 1, 2. Test, test, test. Check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, check. Test, test. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2. 2, 2, 2, 2. Test, test. Check, check. All right. I think it's working. Happy Friday to y'all. Of course, that means it is Thursday, July 3rd, 2025, year of our Lord. I'm joined here in my basement with one of my dogs, Oliver, Ollie. Not normally in the basement, but everyone else is gone, and he stands at the top of the stairs and whimpers nonstop. Real baby, real fucking baby. So I am scratching him. And of course, also joining us are Milky and Dexter. Although, since there's a dog in the basement, Dexter is hiding behind a piece of drywall. Actually, it's not a false wall, it's a real wall, but there's about a 6-inch gap for a 12-foot section at the bottom of the stairs where you go into the laundry room and you can get into this gap. The wall runs to the left to a little closet here in the basement, and when there's dogs down here, Dexter he just goes and finds himself the best hole that he can. So he's head first into a dark black recess between the concrete basement wall and a studded drywalled wall, and he'll remain there even for a few hours until the dog goes back upstairs. I am on doing a little Fortnite. Got some daily quests here. Damage opponents in named locations. Emote in named location. Collect epic or better weapons. Got some weekly stuff I'm still working on. Enter different academy tech labs after increasing your hero rank. Damage opponents while sliding or airborne. Oh, expertise quest. Pistols? No. Launch or shockwave opponents. Damage opponents while you're in the air with a balloon. Oh, okay. So that's what I'm doing. Just thinking how long it's been since I last streamed. Oh, I've got the Nitro Jerry costume here for 4th of July. Maybe we'll play Exploded Head. Why not? There was a Ford Mustang in here for like less than a day, and I was thinking about it, and I finally decided this afternoon that I kind of want it. And now it's no longer there. Oh wait, some of this stuff is new. What's going on here? This is back in the store. I've had it for a year though. Put in some Marvel stuff here. This is just back in the store today. Yeah, so the Ford Mustang GT was in the store for seriously just like one day. And don't know. I don't get it. Let's see. What's new in the world? I guess that big, beautiful bill passed today that's going to take Medicaid from like 8 million people or something. Going to add some insane number to the national debt, which, okay, is mostly made up, but any real tangible tax breaks that are in there are supposedly going to billionaires, just the people who need it. God dang. Don't know if I talked about it last time I streamed, but Junior has finished his baseball career. Which made me extremely sad for several days. Bordering on full-blown depression. He is 14, and instead of trying out for baseball in the fall for high school, seeing what he thinks, he's decided he's just done. He's been wanting to quit for quite a while. Finished with maybe his best season in many, many years. Took a step back in terms of competition level this year. Got on a team that's not going to play like 9 tournaments a summer and eat up your whole entire summer. I think he hit about 340. On base percentage of like 520. Had about 1.2 walks per game. Really basically had close to a hit every game. Right at the top of the team in terms of steals. Second in batting average, first in OBP, or second in OBP. I think second, now that I think about it. What else am I forgetting? Got to play a little infield. Well, got to play quite a bit of infield. got to pitch a lot more than he ever has. God damn it. Actually, he, back to baseball, ended his season. The team only played 2 tournaments, you know, low-level tournaments, nothing too huge, nothing super competitive. I mean, his team was not great, but it was a lot of kids just trying to chase their dream, playing the game. We played on some big clubs, big organizations, really competitive teams before, and he didn't have fun, so he did fine. We scaled him back to lower level competition, and he did really well, but he played 2 tournaments, or 3 tournaments. 2, I think. One of them got rained out. But we actually won our bracket, won our pool for this one. Which was a nice way to end the season. You know, you don't often get a chance to win your last game of the season, whether it's league, whether it's tournament. You know, odds are generally kind of against you. So that was really cool. They got little rings. He swears he's never won a ring before in any of his sports. I'm pretty sure he has. He has approximately 1,100 medals from wrestling, dating back to 4U or 5U, age 4. And I'm pretty sure he's gotten a ring before. He's been on some competitive soccer teams that have won divisions, won tournaments. I swear he's gotten a ring a time or 2 before for that. Been on ball teams that won tournaments pretty regularly. Never got a ring before. A hat. Bucket hat. That was kind of a cool tournament. Medals. Never rings, I guess. At least according to him. So, 2 weekends ago, he threw a no-hitter. A 5-inning no-hitter. It was a complete game, shutout. That was a highlight. He did manage to walk 2 people, walk 2 people, and team committed 2 errors behind him. So it was not a perfect game. No-hitter was cool, though. And then this time, he pitched this weekend. Oh, she sold out already. What the hell? Pitched the first pool game on Saturday against a team that I think went on to win their bracket. Pretty good team. I think he held them to 2 hits and 3 runs over 5 innings. Six walks, though. And he managed to hit a few of these motherfuckers. Two hit batters. 2 hit batters, 6 walks. Too many freebies. Managed to fight and scrap and claw and stay out of danger, or escape the jams for the most part. And I think we lost, it was a 1-run game when he got relieved. We ended up losing by like 6, I think. 5 or 6. It's a pretty good final outing. No fucking way he killed me. This is a really encouraging, positive year. He loved his teammates. They weren't too serious. They were the right amount of just competitive enough to where he wasn't angry with all of them, but good teammates, good personalities, to where he had fun, whether they won, lost, or tied, which they did manage to fucking tie a few baseball games. Went right, high school soccer and wrestling practices are ongoing, so he's had his hands full with that stuff. Had a scrimmage on Wednesday for soccer. His team throttled a much larger school, I think 5-1, 6-1. Much larger school, bigger school district. They actually play in a bigger conference for bigger schools. 1 or 2 classes, 1 class above us, I guess, local high school. But soccer team does not have the numbers that the rest of the school does, because they were a little rough. Had a pretty good first team, but no match for our much smaller school. I didn't think that I would care about the Club World Cup. Speaking of soccer, let's jump to professional soccer. Didn't think I would really care about the Club World Cup, but as it got going, I found myself like taking off the afternoons to watch Man City games. I was really into it. Maybe some of that is just the excitement of, they've gone out and they've gotten some new guys after a. It's funny. Last year, everyone, the sky is falling. Pep has lost his touch. It's the worst year in 10 years of the Pep Guardiola era. They're awful. They're dreadful. And you know what? We still finished 3rd in the Premier League. How is she sold out already? Oh, I don't have the gold. That's what's up. So yeah, City was so bad this past year that just dreadful. The run is over. Pep's lost his touch, and yet we still finished fucking third in the Premier League. All of our broken down old players. Go figure. But I do like the additions. I really like the left back, Ryan Eight Nori, I think it is. He's Algerian. Man, the way he overlaps and gets up and involved in the offense, really impressive. The 20 or 21-year-old kid in central midfield, Cherky. I think his name's Ryan also. From France. He's French national. Extremely creative playmaker, dangerous dribbler. Really like him. Who else is new? Who am I forgetting? Oh, Reinders, Tijani, midfielder. Seems like he can play as a defensive holding midfield or further up the pitch as an attacking midfield. He's got he certainly got fresh legs compared to some of our old people. Pretty slick playmaker in his own right. Why can I not get through here? God damn it. Stupid game. And then the guys that we brought in last transfer window in the winter. Nico Gonzalez didn't play much. He's more of a defensive midfielder. I liked him. Not sure why he wasn't a little more involved. Marmouche looks like a fantastic kind of complementary striker. Back up to Erling Haaland. Although I thought late in the Premier League season, he looked really good playing with Haaland, sort of in behind him in a shadow striker role almost. Kusanov looked okay in the middle of the Premier League season, but he started the first game of the Club World Cup, if I'm remembering right. Started at right back with, forget who, Akanji maybe as one of the center backs. Ruben Dias maybe as the other. I thought he looked really good as a right back. You love his size and his pace and physicality. So, really liked him. A lot of positives. Everyone is pretty healthy at the moment with the squad, and just hope that can continue. City, of course, got knocked out. What was that? Tuesday afternoon? Monday afternoon? It was Monday. Because I kept seeing that the game was on Tuesday. And so I was preparing to stay home on Tuesday to watch the game. And then I realized the game is Tuesday at 2 a.m. British time. Whatever Greenwich Mean Time. I don't know what the time zone is called, but and it was actually like 6 p.m., 8 p.m. Central Time here in North America. So that was like, oh, cool. It's on now. Oh man, someone beat me to this. They did. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing back there, dog? Bumping into stuff, getting in trouble. So City got knocked out. I don't know. The Al Hilal. They got a lot of former Premier League players, so I guess maybe it's not a great injustice that they upset us. It did take, double overtime, or whatever they call it, the 2 extra 15-minute halves. It's not like City rolled over and died. But they definitely hit us on the counterattack a few times. Which was something. Something we're not used to. And I guess that just leaves the NHL offseason to catch up on. Of course, the Florida Panthers won back-to-back Stanley Cups a week and a half, 2 weeks ago now. One heck of a squad they've got. They had 3 prominent unrestricted free agents, and somehow they've managed to too much bullet drop here. Three very prominent free agents. Should be 3 very expensive free agents to sign, and of course darn near impossible unless they all took hometown discounts to quote unquote keep the band together, which of course they did. They got about $30 million in players for what, 18 million or something. Now they had to give them all an insane amount of term. But they managed to keep Sam Bennett, Brad Marchand, and Aaron Ekblad. They should be good for another year or so, at which point their goalie, who was grossly overpaid for most of his contracts, but has been absolutely earning every bit of it here the last few years. His deal will be up. He'll need a new contract. He'll also be like 39 or something by that time. So giving him that contract is not the kind of decision you just say, oh, sure, here you go. Let's keep the good times going. It's got to give you some pause at a certain point. But with the Stanley Cup over, that left the NHL draft. My St. Louis Blues picked 19th overall. Got, by all accounts, a really talented winger prospect. Justin Carbonneau, I believe is the name. Big burly kid, kind of future power forward type. Real nose for the net. Goes to the dirty areas, battles. He's been at development camp with a bunch of other Blues prospects this week. What is he shooting me with? Ain't no way. The Blues didn't have second or third round picks because of the offer sheets last summer to Philip Broberg. Cost us our second rounder. And Dylan Holloway cost us our third rounder. Two trade-offs that we would, I think every GM in the league would make 100 out of 100 times. Didn't have a fourth or a seventh from, I don't know, other moves or whatever. Picked a couple guys in the fifth and sixth, but really just the first rounder. This is General Manager Doug Armstrong's last year as the GM. He'll stay on as president of operations, but former Blues player, Stanley Cup winner Alex Steen is taking over next season. And Armstrong has been making some good moves the last few years. Really, he's talked about leaving the team in a position to contend, leaving the team better than it was when he got there. We've already won a Stanley Cup under his tenure. He talks about leaving them in position to do so again when he steps aside. And it's hard to argue with some of his work. Blues have a depth of wingers at the NHL level and coming up in the prospect pipeline. That's their deepest position. So they're looking at trading some of that depth to shore up other areas. Jordan Kyrou's name was out there for a while. Supposedly was available in a deal for Noah Dobson. He ended up going to Montreal and signing an 8-year extension. That left Montreal with a bit of a surplus at right defense. Some big right-handed young defenseman they've got there, or coming. And that resulted in a trade between the Blues and the Canadiens with a swap of 2021 first-rounders. Excuse me. Blues sent left winger Zach Bolduc to the Canadiens for right-handed defenseman Logan Mailloux. Bolduc was like 21st, 22nd overall in that draft. Mailloux was 30th, 31st. This was the year where Mailloux got in trouble at the World Juniors, I think it was, or the U17s. Showed some teammates or texted them video of some young lady doing some things to him. Shared it without her consent, of course. Told teams, don't draft me, I've screwed up. I'm going to work on myself, I'm going to rebuild my reputation. I'll come back, next year or 2 years, whatever, a better person. And the Canadiens, rather controversially, drafted him anyway. I shot her in the head like 4 fucking times. I think he ended up sitting out a whole year, which, kind of stalled his development a little, as you'd expect. Had a good season in London for the London Knights of the OHL. A year after that, has had 2 pretty successful seasons in the AHL for the Laval Rocket, Montreal's primary minor league affiliates. Last year, he was an AHL All-Star and AHL Rookie of the Year. First team Rookie of the Year. And this past year, he was an AHL All-Star again. He's only played like 7 or 8 games with the Canadiens. Although he does have like 5 or 6 points in those 7 or 8 games, so... but everyone seems to agree, like, he's still got plenty to learn, particularly on the defensive side of his game, but all the things that he needs to learn, he needs to be learning at the NHL level at this point. There's not much to be gained by going back to the A. He's 6'3", he's like 210, 212, 215, somewhere in there. He's, got an offensive slant to his game. He's better in the offensive end than the defensive end. Got a bomb of a shot. Apparently, I've watched some highlight videos. That's it. I can't pretend to know this player. Bomb of a shot, very mobile. Plays somewhat physical. Got a bit of a mean streak when he wants to. Everything I've read, like on The Athletic or message boards, scouting sites, all basically say, he just needs to mature and learn to play a little better in his own end, but it sounds like he's kind of a lock for a top 4 role long term. And, that's exactly what the Blues need. Our pipeline is heavy on wingers, pretty good on left defense, awfully thin at right defense, and kind of average, mediocre on centerman. No, I don't know what is going on. I can't aim tonight. I'm going to the lobby. I'm taking a little breather. So Logan Mayu coming to St. Louis. It sucks losing Bolduc. I was really, really impressed by him and his second half. What annoys me is that everyone here in St. Louis is saying things like, we lost a 20 goal scorer. And we didn't. He scored 19 last year. And they say, well, he only played the second half of the season. No, he played most of the first half as well. It's just until Jim Montgomery got here in like late November, he had, I think, one goal, maybe two goals in the first 18, 19 games of the season. After that, he began to take off. I think he had two goals in Montgomery's first game, and Montgomery really put him in a position to succeed on the third line with usually like Jake Neighbors and Oscar Sundquist. He was kind of the playmaker on the line, although most notably, the thing that everyone, the thing he really did well was shoot the puck. He got a lot of time on power play too. Played in the bumper position, found those quiet little spots, little seams, had his stick ready. He was available for a one-timer, and he got off a lot of really nice ones, really good ones, and finished with 19 goals on the season. His shot is really good. His skating is really good. He had a little more physicality. It was growing. I don't know if it was more or less than what was expected, but he sort of had a knack for getting under guys' skin at various points. He'd be skating away from a scrum after a whistle and still having guys chase him around the ice and take swipes at him. And had the discipline to skate away usually. He was a bit of an agitator. And defensively, his game was still a work in progress. Still is a work in progress. He was a really promising guy, and it sucks to lose, but young, good, right-handed defensemen, ones that are over 6 feet tall in particular, are like gold. There's not that many. When someone has one, they're not giving them up. The only way you get one is if there's a contract impasse, a stalemate, maybe some falling out with the organization and the player. There's, like, Dobson had a down season last year. He obviously was a restricted free agent, 1 year away from free agency, and there was a concern about an offer sheet. But the Islanders didn't seem to want to give him a long-term deal, and he didn't seem all that interested in accepting one. There were rumors that he and head coach Patrick Waugh didn't get along so well. Didn't see eye to eye. And that was part of the reason that the Islanders were so willing to move on from a 25-year-old, 6'4", 220-pound defenseman who, by the way, 2 years ago scored 70 points as a defenseman. Top pair, right-handed defenseman, everything you could ask for. Size, skating, shot, hands. Defense was fine. But, so the Canadians had Dobson locked in now. I think Lane Hudson plays the right side for him, although he's technically left-handed. They have David Reinbacher coming. He was a 5th or 6th overall pick a couple years ago. And then they had Logan Mailloux from 2021 draft class, late first rounder. Probably would have been higher if he didn't have the personal baggage that he did. But he's at a point where he's NHL ready, still young enough to be able to come in and grow a little. And he's going to need paid in a probably same contract situation as Bolduc with the entry level. So he's probably an RFA in a year. The Blues will have a decision if they want to go long term, if they feel comfortable enough doing that, or if they'll want to bridge him for a couple years and then go long term or walk away. Who knows? A lot of players right now are not all that willing to go long term because the way the cap's growing, it's gone up what, 10 million or so in the last 2 off seasons as we get further and further away from COVID and the escrow's been paid down. Expansion teams, Seattle and Las Vegas, have added to the league's revenue. And the cap is projected to go up another 13 million over the next 2 years. So Mitch Marner just got a sign and trade to Vegas and signed long term. I saw Nick Ehlers signed long term today, 6 years, 8.5 million. The Blues needed like a middle six center badly, along with, to do something with their defense. Trading for Logan Mailloux, change the look of the defense. Sets up a pretty nice lefty-righty pairings. Cam Fowler, and Colton Parayko on one pair. Philip Broberg and Justin Falk on a second pair, and then Mailloux and probably Tyler Tucker on the third pair. I don't really like Tyler Tucker. He's got extremely heavy, slow feet. He's a great teammate. He stands up for guys. He'll drop the mitts with anyone to stick up or spark something. I just the idea of him being a full-time number 6, 5 or 6 third pair defenseman is a little scary. Damage opponents while sliding. All right. Well, let's just jump early and go way up there. We also had Nick Leddy on the left side. Although, after acquiring Mailloux, I guess the Blues told Leddy, look, you got 1 year left on your deal, $4 million cap hit, $3 million actually is only owed in actual salary, so the actual money is less than the cap hit. We're going to work with you to trade you somewhere. This year, July 1st, he's got a modified no-trade list that kicks in. And I guess they had a deal lined up with the Sharks a couple days ago, but the Sharks were apparently on his no-trade, and he vetoed that. No one else came forward, so the Blues said, you're not in our plans. Our only avenue of recourse at this point is to put you on waivers. At which point, guess what? The Sharks are going to claim you because they want you. Because they've got a cap floor issue. They've got to add like $10 million in payroll to get to the cap floor. And it's a real bonus that your cap hit is $4 million, but your actual salary is only $3 million. That's like a double whammy. So I saw today that he was claimed after the 24-hour waiver period or whatever. There were a whole lot of people online saying that the Blues did him dirty and no one's going to want to sign here when this is how you treat players. And I think it's a very simple, elegant solution to those people saying those things. And if you don't want to be moved, have your agent negotiate you a no movement clause. Not just a no trade clause, or a modified no trade clause. And if you are going to hold out and insist on a no trade, you're probably not getting the contract that you want in the first place. So that was 4 million off the Blues cap. And they had rushed out. They needed a middle six center, as I said. They rushed out and signed Nick Bukestad, veteran center slash winger, most recently with Utah. Which was kind of an underwhelming signing at first. Because, look, he's okay, but he's not. We're hoping for a more robust solution at 2C or 3C, depending on what they do with Braden Shen. But, you know, worst case scenario, he adds some depth. Everyone around here really loved Radek Foxa at 4C last year. But he went back to Dallas, where he was the year before, where he's been most of his NHL career, I believe. You know, that's home for him. And he supposedly told the Blues, you know, you should look at other options. So in that case, Bukestad was not a terrible option. And then, after we acquired Mayu and put Nick Leddy on waivers with the almost guaranteed outcome that he would be getting picked up and taken off of our payroll, the Blues then were able to sign Pius Suter, a forward, you know, often center, sometimes winger, from the Vancouver Canucks, to a 2-year deal for like 4.125, something like that. A very reasonable, fair deal. I think everyone kind of expected he might get, certainly would be asking for upwards of, you know, $1 million, $1.5 million more than what he signed for. Bit of a unusual player in that, you know, he's not real big. He's like 5'11". He's not real fast. He's actually maybe kind of slow by today's NHL standards. You know, doesn't have an elite shot or elite hands. But his defensive play and the way that he's able to play with more skilled players, you know, his metrics, what he does for himself and what he does for his line mates have been just kind of, I guess, glowing. I've read about, you know, what a hidden gem he is for a couple years now. Where is... Shoot, there's a lab right behind me. I gotta go there. So he seems like a nice signing. The issue here in St. Louis is that Braden Shin is not a terribly effective second line center anymore. He's 34, 35. Doesn't get around the way that he used to. Which that's no knock on him or anything. He's getting up there. It happens. Just is what it is. He had a bit of a rejuvenation last year with Jordan Kyrou and Dylan Holloway on his wings, two extremely fast, extremely skilled players who, took some of the burden off of him in terms of, skating and being in the right place and whatnot. But down the stretch, Holloway got injured. Kind of really hurt in the playoffs being without him. So people aren't sure if we leave Shin at 2C with a healthy Holloway and Kyrou, or if we should go ahead and be looking to replace him, bump him down to 3C. And, I think Pius Suter gives us some options to do any number of things, whether he plays on the wing for us, whether he plays at center for us, whether he plays at second line center or third line center. Kind of got some options now. It's good value. It's a perfect term. The big concern for the Blues is blocking. We have a prospect by the name of Dalibor Dvorsky. Who was 10th overall pick a few years ago. Extremely promising kid. I think I'm done with the balloon quest, aren't I? Where'd it go? No one wants Dvorsky to be blocked. A startling number of people want to hand him, just give him the second line center spot or third line center spot. I don't know. They say things like, let him grow into it. And man, does that ever sound like a way to ruin a prospect? Slightly more intelligent people have suggested giving him the Robert Thomas treatment. We did with Bobby Thomas a few years ago when he was a rookie. Played with a veteran center iceman, Tyler Bozak, almost always. And that line, more often than not, had a veteran winger also on it. So he was well sheltered, shall we say. Guys that played a good two-way game, were a good example. If the kid made a mistake or was a little out of position, they were where they should be so that they could hopefully cover for him. And I know a lot of this depends on the player personality, but Robert Thomas is good kid, good head on his shoulders, and has blossomed into one of the best centers in the league. I don't know. He might be in that kind of top 10 range. He's a real playmaker. And of all this under 21 drama with the Canadian junior team, or under 21 drama, World Junior drama with the 2021 U team back in 2018 or whatever it was, where Jordan Kyrou and Robert Thomas were part of that team, their names haven't come up in anything. Kyrou, because he was out of town that weekend, he didn't even attend. Didn't even attend the festivities in question. Thomas did, but I haven't seen his name come up in any of this shit as, being up to no good, being involved in things that he shouldn't. All of which is to say that it seems very in keeping with his character. In keeping with his character of being, a well-adjusted young lad with a good head on his shoulders. So the Blues now suddenly have good depth down the middle. Whether your four centers are Thomas, Shen, Suter, Sundquist, or Thomas, Shen, Suter, Bukestad, some other combination. Good forward depth. Defense looks well positioned to be infused with some younger legs, more size. Justin Falk's play has been slipping, so giving Mayu a season as the third pair right defenseman to grow and develop. Maybe 2 seasons. I think Falk has 2 years left. But he's going to be needed in the top 4 here before long. So, time was right. Good acquisition. Excited about the Blues off season so far. They're probably done, but you never know. What sucks about losing Bolduc, I get. The Blues were looking to move, or listening on Kyrou, because, he's the most expensive of them. He's the best of their wingers. Launch or shockwave? How do I launch? Whoops, wrong button. But he would bring the greatest return. The thing about Bolduc is he's closest to needing a new contract out of any of the Blues' other wing depth. He's an RFA in a year, and if he has another good season, pots another 19 goals, 25 goals, he's going to get more and more expensive. Jake Neighbors, I think, still has 2 years left. Jimmy Snuggerud has 2 years of his entry-level deal. Buchnevich just had not that he's young, but he's winger depth. Just had a 7-year extension kick in. He's got 6 or 7 years. Who am I forgetting? Shen. Oh, Holloway will need. Well, I guess Blues should be looking to extend Holiday right now. I understand if Holloway maybe isn't all that interested in extending right now, with the cap set to go up quite a bit for the 2 remaining years, but he and Broberg signed 2-year offer sheet deals, which means now that we're within a year of that expiring, he's eligible to re-sign. God dang. Holloway and Broberg won't come cheap, so getting them signed to new deals will be paramount. And man, they both looked really good at various times last year. Holloway was consistently like fucking dog, man. Broberg had some very good moments. Looked, a little shakier, but still looked like a guy that you're going to be very happy to keep for another 7 or 8 years. I think I'd rather have that one. Yeah, I'll carry that. Why not? So let's see. Blues draft, Blues trade, Blues free agency. I think they're pretty much done. There's not a ton left in the free agent market. Maybe a depth piece. I don't know that the Blues are really in the market for anything. If anything, they're looking to maybe trim a guy or two from their roster. They traded for the rights to Alexander Texier from Columbus last year, signed him to a 2-year deal. He was a former, second-round draft pick. Got in and out of Columbus's lineup. Columbus was not a real competitive team at the time. He ended up going back to France or Europe. He's from France. I don't know where he went and played, but went back to Europe for a year. Blues acquired his rights, brought him over. He was a little inconsistent, which could be said about a lot of guys at the start of the year. They got their coach fired. Montgomery came in and got a lot of the guys, most of the guys, kind of pointed in the right direction. The other possible trade candidate, I would say, is Is there a... There's one there. There's one there. I would say is Matthew Joseph, whom the Blues picked up from Ottawa for, I think, just a third-round pick. He was a salary dump by Ottawa. He was a little expensive, which is why they were looking to trim him off. You know, Joseph got off to a slow start here, but I think he was doing better by the end of the season. He's still kind of expensive, which is why he would be a candidate to get moved along. Makes $3.1 million or something. I don't think Ottawa retained anything. Just got one more year left, so you know, he skates pretty well. He's physical. I don't remember him taking too many like dumb penalties out of aggression or anything. It's just his scoring kind of ran somewhere between lukewarm and extremely cold. I think the Blues were hoping to squeeze a little more offense out of him. But again, he was, first year in a new city, new team, adjusting to, new teammates, new line mates, new coach midseason. Last year kind of could be written off as a big, learning curve. His brother was on the team at the start of last season, but got traded to trim the cap a little mid-season. I'm sure that was, you go from one extreme of, oh my gosh, after, we haven't played together since, Pee-wees or Bantams. And now here I'm getting to play pro hockey with my brother on the same NHL club. Our parents are coming to games. And then, boom, your brother gets traded. This guy had 2 SMGs. Had the legendary, and then, that's certainly a strategy. Damn. So I kind of like P.O. Joseph. I would totally understand if they said, look, we think you will rebound some this year, but we're still not going to sign you after this year, beyond this year, so we're going to go ahead and move you now because we need the cap space or we want to do something else with the roster spot. Like, I get it, and I'm not going to be heartbroken. Don't think anyone would be. But I also wouldn't mind seeing him in the lineup a little bit. See if he can find a little more consistency in the second half than that he wasn't able to last season. Storm's here. Got to go. So we'll see how the rest of the off-season goes. I think it's already been very encouraging. Our general manager has acted swiftly and decisively to make a couple very pointed improvements to the roster that will help short-term and long-term. Didn't drastically overpay in terms of trade pieces, didn't drastically overpay in terms of insane free agent contract that was given out. We're really well positioned. We've got a nice core, a nice nucleus, all kind of mostly between the ages of 21 and 26. I don't know how old Thomas and Kairu are. I got my group back. Oh, this is a name location. I can emote. Damage opponents while sliding and launch or shockwave opponents. Shockwave grenades have been hard to find. Only ones I've been getting have been the ones I have to purchase. And gold is not like stupid crazy plentiful in this game. So that's been an added level of added issue to deal with. Yeah, why not? Ooh. What else has been going on? Juniors, baseball and soccer and wrestling. Man City. Blues. Back to pro soccer for a moment. Unfortunate news today, this morning I guess, that Liverpool forward, striker, midfielder Diego Jota was killed in a car crash overnight or sometime very recently. along with his brother in their native Spain. Oh, crap. Alright. Easy peasy. Drats. Emotes, damage opponents. I didn't check off the sliding damage, did I? No. Still need to launch a shockwave. Oh, wait. Let's see what the shop updated to. Dream keys. It updated early today, didn't it? No, some of this stuff is still new. Fishy flippers, huh? God, those would look stupid. I have to have them. Yeah, that Ford Mustang was gone after one day. That's curious. I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm gonna take a brief break and go away. While sliding or airborne, so I could continue using the balloons. Oh boy. I started rewatching season 2 of The Rehearsal, which I had first watched maybe a month or two ago now. I guess it's been about a month, maybe a little over. Just astonishing, an astonishing piece of television. Uh, God, man. I, it's been rolling around in the back of my mind, just some of the absurd things that guy gets up to. The scenarios that he gets people to go along with. Not just in The Rehearsal, like season 1 or season 2, like back in Nathan For You, and I've never seen The Curse, but my wife absolutely hates Nathan Fielder. She hates his dry affect. She hates the way that he is basically fucking with everyone. She gets like very angry when I say, "Hey, sit down and watch an episode of The Rehearsal with me." The first thing she asked was, "Is he still like that?" Like what? I mean, yeah, probably. Too many fights in too quick of a succession. You know what else I watched recently? I watched the two documentaries about the Ocean Gate submersible and whatever that company was. I guess Ocean Gate. The Titan was the name of the sub that went out. They were going to start doing, or they were doing tours to the Titanic in a unflagged, uninspected, uncertified carbon fiber hull submarine. I believe 6 people died in that. The owner and 5 paying passengers. About 3,900 meters below the surface of the ocean. The one on HBO, I forget the names. The one on HBO focused more on the company as a whole and the investigation after the crash by the U.S. Coast Guard. And they weren't sure who was going to be in charge of the investigation because A, it happened in international waters, but B, the ship had launched from Canada. C, it was an American-owned company, but registered out of the Bahamas for, legal reasons to escape liability. It was a whole mishmash, but the United States ended up taking it, and it being a maritime accident, it went to the Coast Guard. It focused more on conversations with the lead investigator, the investigative team, laying out, this is where we started, and this took us to looking into this, and that took us to looking into this, and it was good. They interviewed, past employees, past passengers, a lot of the investigative team, again. The one on Netflix I liked better. I think it was maybe a little better. Anyway, focus more on the investigative team and their discoveries. The one on Netflix was way more blunt. Right in the opening scene, I forget if it was the narrator or a former head engineer of the company, basically called the dude a dumbass, and that everyone knew what he was doing. He was going to die someday. It was just a matter of who was going with him. Would he kill a bunch of passengers too, or would he just die in his own stupid accident? And so, right off the bat, I was like, ooh, damn. They're pulling no punches. It was well done. The Netflix one focused more on employees, former employees. Specifically, they got a lot of time with the guy who was the head engineer for like 3 years before he finally just like quit of his own conscience. The head of the company had kind of been threatening him, and before he threatened him, he had made some comment about, I'll gladly spend 50, 100K to ruin someone's life if they're going to come between, me and my company, me and my dream. And so then there was some other disagreement or safety thing that was ignored, and the guy was like, it was at that time that I had to leave. Oh, the submarine that imploded was basically the second or third full-size sub that they ever built. They built a whole bunch of smaller ones, scaled-down versions of the carbon fiber hull, and they had almost unanimously imploded in pressure testing. I think there was one that didn't completely implode. It just had a big crack, and the guy was like, all right, we're ready to go. Let's build the real thing. And they're like, well, this one didn't pass. Like, it still failed. Yes, it didn't completely implode into a million little pieces, but like, this is not a success. What are you talking about? He's like, nah, we're ready for the next phase. Like, ugh. The guy, I mean, of course, there was just insane, dangerous shit going on. Nothing was regulated. He specifically set up the company and ran the company in a way to avoid any regulation, any liability. Supposedly, he would ask employees, like, "Hey, you don't have any family, do you? Do you have any kids, or are you married, single? What's up? What's your story? What's up with you?" And they'd be like, "No, I'm single. I got a girlfriend," but like, he'd be like, "Perfect, you're hired. No one to sue us." Basically, it was sounded pretty crazy. Maybe, the ex-employees didn't seem particularly like pissed off or having an axe to grind. It wasn't salacious because, they were there to kick sand on the man's grave. They had very genuine safety concerns that they had brought up at various points, and which were completely ignored. The head of this submarine company, he was like, Stetson Richmond the Fourth or something. He was from an affluent, like, northeastern family, old money. He went to school. I think he went to a decent college. I don't remember which one it was. He had an engineering degree. There was maybe a suggestion about how much he really earned it versus just kind of buying his way through school. He was not a dummy. He was definitely reckless, I guess is the best way to put this. But his pursuit, like, he looked up to Elon Musk as, like, everyone has the image of Musk as, like, a real life Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. He's going to hole up for the weekend in his lab, and he's going to come up with something really awesome. He's going to invent the next great flavor of Pepsi or something, revolutionary. When, you know, Musk has like bought all the companies that he's owned, everything that he's involved in, he touches, like, turns to shit. But yet, this is one of those idiots that used to be that Simpsons meme about, weird nerds and defending Elon Musk's honor, and them jumping in front of a bullet. It was kind of like that. So the guy had this obsession to, invent or innovate in some specific tech sector and be like the grand poobah of whatever. Oh, Elizabeth Holmes. I think he had a weird fascination with her and her, blood testing company or whatever that was, wasn't a real thing either. He had like the worst idols that, and business inspirations that you could imagine. He backed like all the wrong people. And he was like a rich guy that had never been told no, hadn't been told enough or forcefully enough. And after years upon years upon years, travel distance, what is my... Under the effects of shockwave. Air. Is this the shockwave that I already have, or... Did I just... Yeah, I just launched my car. So, yeah, spoiled rich guy. No one ever told him no. Everyone who ever remotely stood up to him was fired or suggested that they resign lest he fire them and make their lives miserable. He's a real piece of shit. You knew he was going to get someone killed. It was just a matter of when and who. But both of those were good watches. I would recommend them. They weren't too long. They were informative. They made you appropriately like ill to your stomach at all the bullshit that this guy was able to get away with just because he, you know, had the money or just a real con artist piece of shit. Something else that will drive you nuts is it's been out a while, and I'd watched it. Oh God. The People versus Alex Jones on HBO. It's a documentary about how he defaulted on his Sandy Hook lawsuits and then didn't cooperate with the damages suits at all. He is just such an obvious bullshitter that I don't know how anyone believes a word he says. He's just such an obvious habitual liar. I grew up down the street from a kid who was an equally skilled liar. Like the dumbest lies you can imagine a 10, 12, 14-year-old kid to say, like the classic, like, oh yeah, I have an uncle that works for Nintendo. Yeah, I get to play all the games, months before anyone else because he gets them from Japan. Yeah, I got a girlfriend. She's a cheerleader, but she lives 2 counties over. You'll probably never get to meet her. It's there's a line in the Monty Python's Quest for the Holy Grail where they go up to a castle and they're like, "We're here. We seek the Holy Grail. We saw it shining in your window or your it's not a window. It's a little archway, whatever. We know it's here. Let us in." And the Frenchman is like, I'll go tell him, but we must speak to your lord at once. I'll go tell him, but I don't think he'll be too interested. He's already got one. What? He's already got a Holy Grail? May we see it? No, it's very expensive. He doesn't let anyone see it. Like, such blatant lies. Like, anyway, I'm fascinated by how anyone listens to Alex Jones and takes him seriously. Uh, I listened to a podcast called Knowledge Fight. It's one guy who's kind of like me, just like fascinated at how someone gets away with just acting like a total maniac, first off, but just saying things that are patently false. They're very easy to track and see that they're made up. And yet he's got sponsors and people giving him money, and I did not see that guy soon enough. Knowledge Fight, the one guy's very, very intelligent, very educated. He's a diligent researcher. He's got a buddy that they were both doing stand-up comedy. He's loud, he's expressive. So they started this podcast where they would, pick an episode or two of Alex Jones and just review it and break down all his lies and like fact check him. It was very high concepts, and it's turned into a maddening, like, I don't know. I've listened to like 600 episodes of, probably 700 episodes of the show, and just, like after a month of shows, 4, 5, 6 shows, like, you saw all his patterns. You could tell when he was lying just by the way he shouts or he plugs. Like, he's got like tics and habits. He says the most obvious bullshit. And yet, there are people that continue to buy his products. Most of his shows are like shilling products. He rants and raves about things that are supposed to happen, calamities, end of the world, government takeovers, like major earth-shattering, life-changing things, and then they don't happen. He's on to the next thing that you should be afraid of. And it doesn't happen. And on a long enough timeline, which Alex has been on the air for the internet, he's been doing a show in some form or another for 23, 25 years now, maybe a little more. And he's completely taken up positions nowadays that are counter to what he believed in the early going. He was very libertarian, anti-government, anti-federal government, at least let the states have their own autonomy to do what they want to do in their little part of the world. And now he's fully carrying water for a fascist authoritarian takeover. Things that he should make his skin crawl. They're so antithetical to what he used to believe. He's now like tacitly endorsing. It is weird. It is frustrating. It is, frankly, unbelievable in many cases. I think it was the tree. dang, no burst pistols this game. I think I'm about done. Yeah, I think it's a good spot to call it. Covered all the sports, television entertainment. Everyone have a happy and safe 4th of July. Try and keep all your fingers, all your appendages intact. And we'll jump on here again soon.